Hi, welcome to Actual Spinster. Sorry for the mess behind me. Welcome to my best books of the year video, but done through kind of like superlatives-ish. This was inspired by Claire Reid's books. I've been doing it for 4 years now, I believe. I would like to say, I guess, I do think I had like a worse reading year this year, so I feel like whilst I don't regret putting any of the books that I'm going to talk about, like, there weren't as many that really like reached the heights. I mean, I did have some really great books I read this year, but not as many as I am used to, I guess. Best romance expressed via letters goes to The Love Letters of Virginia Woolf and Vita Sackville-West. Best sci-fi goes to Terra Nullius by Claire G. Coleman and also Harrow the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. Yeah, Tamsin Muir. Best short story collection obviously goes to Tales from Earthsea by Ursula K. Le Guin. Best YA historical fiction book goes to The Lie Tree by Frances Hardinge. Best non-fiction book goes to Valentine Ackland, A Transgressive Life by Frances Bingham, and also Communism for Kids by Beanie Adamczak, translated by Jacob Blumenfeld and Sophie Lewis. Most difficult book goes to Bid Me to Live by HD. Most difficult, and then in brackets, like, affectionate, you know. Dikeest book goes to Gideon the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. Most remarkable book for its publication date. I would say that as I read more into the 20th century, this is like harder to kind of like choose, but I went with The Group by Mary McCarthy because I do think it is very fascinating and it does talk very explicitly about like reproductive healthcare, like birth control, sex sometimes, and also like mothering, babies, pregnancy, and also like communism and psychoanalysis and like a lot of things, and also queerness in a kind of somewhat nebulous capacity, I guess. The longest book I read was Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. Best writer of the year, like tentatively, goes to Daphne du Maurier, which I read Rebecca from, and also George Eliot, who I read Middlemarch from. The only problem with both of these is that I only read one of their books this year, so that sort of somewhat makes this a hesitant category, but they both write very beautifully. And of course Middlemarch by George Eliot picks up Best Victorian Novel too. Best poetry collection goes to Diane de Prima's Revolutionary Letters, which is probably also the most recommended, to be honest. Silliest book I read, like, you know, most fun book I read was probably Master of Gin by P. Djeli Clark. Best translated fiction goes to Diary of a Lonely Girl or The Battle Against Free Love by Miriam Karpilov, translated by Jessica Curzane, and also to Fair Play by Tove Jansson, translated by Thomas Teal, I believe. And Fair Play also picks up the award for best book about grace, aging, and the way that the work of art is sometimes the same as being in relation to those you love or to women you love. Great category I made up there. Most charming protagonist obviously goes to Piranesi, who I love. Best books about spinsters go to Miss Mull by E.H. Young and The Weather House by Nan Shepherd, which are both books from the 1930s, so I guess they pick up best book from the 1930s, maybe. Well, I guess Rebecca's also from the 1930s. Those three, they get best books from the 1930s. Best book about the ocean and queer reproduction goes to The Gracekeepers by Kirsty Logan. The best book about archives, as well as the best book about East Berlin or like the German Democratic Republic, goes to Confession with Blue Horses by Sophie Hardag. Best well-known book that's underratedly kind of cool and actually Marxist feminist goes to Conversations with Friends by Sally Rooney. Most compelling case for nonsense, kinship, family abolition, and gingerbread goes to Gingerbread by Helen Oyeyemi, of course. Best book about womanhood and not killing yourself goes to Money by Victoria Benedictson, translated by Sarah Death. And the best novel about wanting to die, loving people who want to die, not killing yourself, and healing and suicide goes to All My Puny Sorrows by Miriam Toews. Most melancholic yet hopeful book goes to Stubborn Archivist by Yara Rodriguez Fowler. Most disappointing book goes to The Inverts by Crystal Jeans, and best book about emails goes to The Idiot by Elif Batuman. I love books about emails. Great, there you go. I hope you had a good reading year, and I'll leave links to Claire Reid's books, of course, and also my previous years of doing this video, because some of the categories, definitely not all of them, do have some through lines-ish, which is maybe fun to kind of see. Happy New Year!